Oh,
All right. Welcome, everybody, to Geek Philosophy, where we love geeky wisdom and more specifically to Ventas Relics of the Ancients campaign. My name's Brian. I'm the DM. To the right of your screen up top, you see Carrie playing Henrik. Right below me, you see Crystal, and she is playing Reva. And then we have Melanie playing Elora. So, welcome back, guys. All right, so I'm going to do a quick recap slash get caught up because we had a little bit of a time jump since last session. Not much, just a couple days. So let me get everybody caught up to where we are. So after the events at Spearpoint Tower, you descended Rhodos Peak and into the town of Basin Fall itself, where you met with local law-keeping authority in the area who was Captain Asana of the Alliance Guard. And he thanked you profusely for ridding Spearpoint Tower of the apparent blight that was calling all of the people that were in the area towards them and just causing issues with the town. Actually paid you what he had promised the alehounds, since you basically did their job. And then agreed to safeguard the remains of Charity Kilborn. So since then, you have taken advantage of the modest but comfortable Basin Fall Inn while you're there to get the rest that you so needed. And once again, while you were resting there, Henrik was actually contacted again by a worried Dean Spiros Alexandrin. So using the sending spell, he was able to contact and let Henrik know that, look, I know where you are, and I'm going to be in the area in the nearby city of Nighthost, and please meet me in 2 days' time, or 3 days' time. So after you were fully rested, you set out at dawn on horseback, following the Starlight Roadway, and took advantage of the safest and fastest route there, which is the road that leads from that city to many others. And it was actually pretty uneventful travel. You were able to sort of contemplate things and relax on your journey. And those of you that were scavenging for various herbal implements for your potions and things like that, you were able to collect some things along the way. And in the end, you were able to cross miles of farmland and fields that were very beautiful and come to the large city, which is sort of the center of the Benin Commonwealth. And it sort of appears to be sort of a crossroads of culture in many ways. And you got there a little early, so you decided to stay at the Fourth Tower, which is sort of a play on the fact that there are three main towers of the Athenaeum, and this place is right across the street from the Athenaeum Library branch that is there in Nighthost. So it's sort of their way of saying, hey, we're sort of the Fourth Tower. And from there, that's where we're going to actually pick up our story. So you have gotten some rest again. You were able to stable the horses in the local area, the livery that was right there. You did notice, like, just as you were going through, this is different in decor and in structure from Ventia, but this is probably the largest city you've been in since that first move from Angaro to Ventia. At least Crystal and Melanie, your characters kind of hadn't been into something like this. Although Reva had visited Ventia before, but just it's new, right? Just kind of going through.
right.
So the sights and the sounds. There are street vendors that are have sort of food carts that they're selling things. There's coffee is big there. Benin coffee is very popular throughout the the area. So there are plenty of that all around, and so you've been able to kind of come this far, and you know that you're going to be meeting with Spiros in the library across the street. But I wanted to kind of take a second and see if there was anything else that you had planned once you got into town, or anything that you had been thinking about along the way before we move further and move towards that meeting. Anything that you guys want to take care of or that you've been thinking of?
I made some healing potions along the way, so Henrik gets replenished with the one that he used. I believe Elora still has one, and I have two. So if anybody gets low, I have an extra one. Um, Other than that, I think I'm good.
Henrik, Alora, either of you have anything that you'd like to do in town before you go for your meeting?
Yeah, like when in our room, I'd like to perform a ritual to bring back my familiar, Bryn.
Gotcha.
Can I
So,
bring him back as an owl this time?
yeah, absolutely.
I would like to bring him back as an owl.
So, if I remember right, you've got. Did you already? Are we assuming that you already went ahead and collected what you needed for that ritual? So I think it's some incense that you needed, and or other things in order to complete the spell. Are you assuming that you went while you got in the town to go shopping for that stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I went to
Well,
the market.
also,
All
yeah.
right. So let me just double check to make sure that I'm remembering correctly. Um, so find familiar. That means it
There's 10 gold pieces
is,
and some herbs.
yeah. So it was a 10 gold pieces worth or 100.
10 gold pieces worth of charcoal, incense, and herbs.
Got it. So if you can mark off your 10 gold pieces, and then we'll say
Yeah.
that there's and spell components around this area are actually pretty easy to come by, just on that same street actually. So because of the way the branches of the Athenaeum libraries are, they usually have next door or inside of them they have sort of a stall where you can go in and get what you need for basic spell components and things like that, because it's sort of an outpost for members of the Athenaeum. So each major city that has a branch of the library can kind of count on being able to go there. You sort of have your, for lack of a better term, you kind of have your universal library card, right? Like, so you graduated from there, and so you kind of get first come first serve status when it comes to going and getting things. So I would say it was no problem at all to collect your spell components that you need.
Okay, and
Also,
real quick,
just on the
the gold we got from previous. How much did you
yes.
say it was?
So that's what I was going to update us on real quick. So we have. Let me add it up really quick.
That's what I was just fixing to ask about. How are we
Yeah, I went
doing
through
that?
last
Because it
night
was
and got
like
it all
500 and then
together.
like 75. And then,
So we have 625 gold, just what we've amassed as a group, not what we all brought individually into the group. And then we also have 15 gemstones of varying colors and types.
So it's 208 gold a person. So can I just put 208 gold?
Yeah, we can just uh, divide it up evenly.
We'll do that, and then I'll subtract my 10 from that.
Great.
Is there so when it says 15 of varying colors and types, is that is there any way to know what those are, or
Yes, there is. Give me a second, and I will tell you what
okay,
they are. All right.
hold on, 625 is 208.
Yeah, that's
What'd
what he
you
said.
say?
208.
Okay, 208.
that's what
Okay.
I said.
So
Okay, sorry.
while I'm checking a couple of things, if you guys have anything that you need to chat about in character together or to discuss, go ahead and do that, and then I'll be right back with you. So,
Okay. Okay. So, Henrik, Alora and I were talking, and it was a really quick introduction to Spiros Alexander. I know that he's friends with Javin, um, but I really feel like is he the right person to give these orbs to?
So you're saying we should keep the orbs, maybe?
No, I'm not saying we
Doubt.
should keep them. I'm trying to be cautious about than just like randomly handing them over without really asking too many questions. Is
Yeah,
it
I
the
mean, I'd
right?
say I would trust him. So if
Okay.
he, I mean, it would be a major betrayal if he like turned his back or did something wrong with them, I think.
And then we also
So
have that book that's in the bag of holding as well. That was the emanating dark spell book or something that we found in the library of the first ruin, and we tucked away just to keep it out of the hands of people who might use it for evil. Is that something that you think that we should also give over to him? You know him, so I'm trying to gauge your.
yeah, I would say I would give him that for sure.
Okay. And
Unless, I mean, it couldn't serve any other purpose, right? Except messing us up or trying to give
yeah,
it to a bad guy.
Brian, did we figure out what the name of that book was?
Yes. Sorry, I was
It's like a
trying to.
shadow book or something. It's okay. You don't have to tell me right now. I just didn't know if we had a title or a.
Yeah, I gave it to you, but I'll look. I was trying to find out your gemstone stuff, but
Yeah, no, that's great.
okay.
Hold on, I'm looking to see if I have it written down.
Okay. And then we also recovered Cherdic's sword. Is that something that you guys would have thought we would have left with his corpse, or is that something we should have tucked away to resell and further fund our endeavors?
Is it a nice sword?
Well, we have the Cherdic's sword, and then we also had the necklace that was around the Tabaxi's neck. That was the scarab.
How many gemstones did you guys say you had? Sorry.
15 of varying color
So, um,
and types.
okay. Would you like what they are?
Yes,
Okay. If you're ready,
I am.
you have 3 blue azurite, 3 white jade,
Okay.
4 smoky quartz crystals. How many are we up to?
10.
And then the rest are all sort of a muddy brownish garnet.
So 5.
And I didn't write the book name down.
I've got it, I think, so give me a second.
So yeah, so the Tabaxi had a necklace that we also took.
Right, with the beetle on it.
Yeah, the beetle. It wasn't a scarab, it was a beetle.
Mhm.
I don't really know if that would be worth anything, but we could always go and kind of get it evaluated.
The Tome of Vile Shadow.
That's what it was. I wrote down shadow book, but I couldn't. Okay.
I was thinking we'd have left the necklace for the family of the girl.
It was a guy that was wearing it.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah. It was a male Tabaxi.
Gotcha.
Was it a male tabaxi?
I thought it was
I think the
female.
only female was human, right?
I don't remember.
Oh, male tabaxi too. Not that it matters.
It was, yeah, so,
They're mercenaries, so they don't need it.
I gotcha. Sounds good.
so, your... So it was a ringing bell, or bell was a tabaxi female.
Oh, okay, it was a female.
There was a human female there too, but it
Okay,
was
so two. Okay.
that was Yasmin Euler, and then the
Right.
other guy was Danny Rudin, and then the last of the four alehounds was Cherda Kilborn.
Okay, so the
For being killed off camera.
I'm sorry.
These guys have a pretty elaborate backstory for being killed off camera.
Do they? You mean
In my
full
mind,
names? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm waiting for like the prequel
Yeah.
game where we play as them. They're an intriguing group.
Campaign 2. The Alehounds. Yeah.
okay, I think that's
Yeah.
pretty much. Oh wait, there was also 18. Okay, so add what's 18 divided by 3?
6.
6.
So add 6 more to your goal. Because Ringing Bell had that on them, as well as the necklace.
And was there anything that you needed to do, Elora, that I'm forgetting?
I've just been playing with my Talem, trying to figure it out, and getting more in tune with it, and just kind of checking it out.
Sounds good. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to need you to do, Henrik, is you're going to make a roll in just a second. Okay. Can you roll a D100 or a percentile? Is
25.
25. So, you know, you've found that you have a bit more of a I don't know, like you're remembering things better than you used to, and hopefully you got the message in between games on that.
I did.
Good. But one of the things that's coming up today is that you have a little bit of anxiety. It's kind of creeping in, and it's not quite paranoia, but your sense of worry just seems to be heightened right now.
And like, is it something that I think is how's the way to say this? I guess like natural anxiety. Is it something notable that I'm like something's causing the anxiety, like externally? Something I could reason out.
Roll a. You think? Roll an investigation check, and we'll say that you're kind of thinking through events and putting things together as best you can.
18. 18.
Yeah, with an 18, you think that you're kind of concluding that you don't normally feel this way. You don't normally have feelings like this. And it does seem like it started soon after contact with the orb.
Awesome. Okay. Is it like focused on anything? Like focused on the orb at all, or just in general?
No, just sort of a general sense of, you know, worry. You're kind of looking over your shoulder every once in a while. It does slightly remind you of sort of the look that Terrence had on his face like when he was kind of shaken to but not anywhere close to that bad. Like you don't, but it kind of like putting things together. It makes you think, man, he was a little paranoid too. But it's nothing incapacitating. You can still act normally. You don't have any disadvantages on anything like that. It's you just got that feeling in your gut.
Can we tell he's anxious?
Roll an insight check for me.
I would like to as well.
Okay. Are you
16.
okay, Henrik? Are you trying to mask this at all, like to not let other people know, or is it just on wearing it on your sleeve?
Ah, crap. Yeah, sorry guys. I probably would try to mask it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So go ahead and roll a deception check, and then we'll see if.
Not because I know you guys are doing it, but
Yeah.
just in general.
Sure. I think it's natural. Most people try to not to let people.
Yeah, absolutely. I had
I
mine
rolled
every
a
day.
10.
I'm sorry, which 10?
10.
Yeah, they can tell. You guys can tell.
Yeah, I rolled a 24, so
Yeah.
I was like, I'll wait for you to
Yeah.
see what you made.
Yeah. Yeah.
To my own good. I'm
Yeah.
a very honest person.
Yeah. And
Part of my type.
And Elora, speaking of as you were sort of taking your time and kind of getting used to your Talem over the course of the travels, you gained a little bit. I don't know if you had a chance to read it, but you gained a little bit of insight on what its purpose was, and you every once in a while you'll get a feeling from it, and it seems to be very it's almost happy that it's found you in a way. Now, Reva. So you had a dream last night, but it was just images. So let's see what it looked like.
Okay.
The last image that you saw bears a striking resemblance to Zrisha. Roll a investigation check for me, please.
15.
As you're sort of walking around in the morning and kind of talking, and you guys are getting your gold pieces together and doing your thing, you sort of you kind of like thinking back to, the dreams are not uncommon for you, having dreams, right? So, but every once in a while you find yourself glancing over and looking at Elora again and trying to place her face and comparing it to the first one that you saw. But you're not, it's just like, it's not an exact match. It's not like it's her, but it's just something's familiar about it.
Because it's her mom. No, I'm just kidding.
I I know, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, oh crap.
Just in my
Man.
head.
That's
Like
exactly what I was
similar, but
thinking.
not identical. But and so
Yeah, uh-huh.
in my dream, did I glean enough to feel like Zrisha was watching her?
Yes.
Okay.
Your feeling was Zrisha, and the images that you got, it was sort of in an area not unlike Angaro. The moss looked like winter moss to you on the stones. Um, and it just seemed that um, she was she was lighting a letter. She was burning a letter, and um, it seemed as if Zerisha was watching
Okay.
and not happy.
Okay. So would I know enough to understand whether that was a way of sending those words somewhere,
Roll,
or if
roll,
it was to just destroy to destroy the pages?
roll an Arcana check.
Oh, I rolled a 19 and plus one. 20.
Um, you're not sure of any, and you haven't heard of any spell that would require someone to burn a letter. It doesn't seem like it was something arcane. You didn't actually even get an ascent. You didn't even see any speech happening. You didn't see any arcane movements, no semantic gestures. There was no other components other than if the candle was a component, but it didn't seem as if it was giving off any magical energy. It just
Okay.
appeared to look like she was burning something, burning a note or burning a letter.
And did I get kind of the feeling that that was a logical interpretation of something that might have happened, or it was the meaning of something, like something had ended, or
Roll an insight check for me.
17 plus 4. 17 plus 4, so high.
Yep.
22, 23.
Yeah, 21. So you actually get the feeling that Rahatiel was showing you what actually happened.
Okay.
So who was the lady burning the letter?
Your mother.
Mm-hmm.
My suspicions, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get that's a glimpse.
Okay. So from there, everybody's bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and fully rested, and it's getting to be about time that you could head over to the library if you'd like, unless there's something else you'd like to do.
I want to ask Henrik if he's feeling okay. Are you okay, buddy?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Thanks for asking. Just need some breakfast. Is there a breakfast place? Something
Okay.
light. Get a little loaf of bread on the way in.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right,
so
well, if you need to talk, it's okay. You can let us know what's going on.
What do you do? I said I'm fine. No.
Okay, let's go. You're hangry.
So with that, you kind of like Reva's just kind of quiet, but she's watching. She just pulls out a little pack out of her vest and makes a little cup of tea and gives it to Henrik, and just tells him that it will brighten his day.
great. So everybody at your room in the morning, and you guys were able to kind of come down in the common hall. And what they have downstairs, as you were coming into sort of the common area, is sort of a lounge area inside the front door. It's not really fancy, but it's well made. It's well kept. There's some sort of plush sofas and things like that. And actually, to the right there is a pot of tea that's already on. But because you were there, they saw you going in there to get it, and one of the people that at the front desk brought out another pot of hot water so that you could make your own,
Okay.
and so you were able to kind of put it together. But there were sort of empty cups there ready to go, and sort of for their guests. I think you get the feeling that most of the people that stay there were either former students or scholars that are kind of coming to visit the library. It's not sort of a run of the mill tavern and inn type of thing. There's no restaurant attached. They just kind of have, rooms, and they'll have some coffee and some tea out for people that are staying. So you're able to do that with no problem, right there in the main lobby as you're waiting.
So it has a very faint, light, flowery kind of scent.
Okay.
And it's a mixture of valerian root, and I'm just telling you that, DM, and St. John's wort.
Got it. Yeah.
Both
So
for anxiety, yeah, and
So
clear
it's-
thinking.
so Henrik, it tastes great, and you're like, oh, this kind of nice, and it's sort of a soothing sort of aroma to it, and yeah, it's not taking everything away, but it's sort of like having a nice little warm cup of tea is it's helpful. It kind of makes you feel a little bit better as you're sitting there with them.
Cool. Yeah.
I was gonna ask him if he was gonna drink it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like,
When my back
will
is
he
turned, he
even
pours it into
drink
my
Or, like,
He takes
I don't
a
need
drink.
no stinking tea.
He drinks it, then pours it into an empty cup. Yes.
Exactly. Just in case.
So there were a couple like small scones that were out by the tea, so there's enough to kind of get a quick snack as you are sitting there as well. So after you're finishing up, quick snack to eat before you leave. Head out. I'm assuming, are you guys heading out?
Yep. Let's do
Okay.
it.
Yep. After coffee and food, I'm ready.
So you literally are walking across the street. This is like I said, it's a great spot for people to stay if they're planning on going to do some studying at the library there. So as you look up, you see it's sort of a larger building than most of the others on the street. There's a dome that is sort of protruding from the top. It's sort of a stone base to it, and then it has stained glass throughout the dome, and it's got wrought iron that's keeping all the stained glass together, so the framing is sort of wrought iron, and it's quite beautiful. You can kind of see it from the road, but you're only kind of seeing the very base of it. But as you go to the front door and walk into the library, you can see that there's sort of a main desk as you walk in. And seated behind sort of multiple piles of parchment, there's a scribe that sort of looks up at you, and she has sort of red, watery eyes strained from kind of constantly looking and focusing on the handwriting of whatever she can barely read or books that she's got nearby. And there's sort of ink spots that are at the front of the desk, and there's, like where something might have spilled, but then she's got a pot of ink that's right there next to her, whereas she's got her own pen, and she's kind of making notes as she goes a little bit. But, the tips of her fingers are also kind of stained a little bit. You can tell that she's sort of been doing this for a while, and probably they're not going to wash off kind of thing. But she sort of has pale skin, grayish hair. It's sort of going gray, tied up into a bun, with another pen sticking through to kind of keep it there, chopstick mode, right? But it's sort of a pen that's kind of keeping it all wrapped. And she kind of looks up and, hello. What can I do for your fine people this morning?
Are there any protocols in place on how to go in?
You're not aware of anything like so formal, but usually you kind of announce that you're with the Athenaeum if you are, just because it helps you helps them understand that you get access to some of the other places. If most people that aren't members of the Athenaeum or haven't graduated only get access to certain sections, and you're sort of understanding of that protocol because you've been around in the different places enough to know that.
And does Spiros, does he have like an official title, like that I would call him by, or is it just his name?
Yeah, so he is the dean of the Tower of the Arcane.
And how about myself? I should have asked this earlier, but what would my title be?
So it depends. That's a great question, actually. So formally, they just call you graduate, right? Unless you have some other official work that you're doing for them. So some people officially kind of sign on to be antiquarians or something that go out and they search for archaeological digs and things like that. But if you are just saying I'm kind of multi-purposed and sort of as an adventurer, then you would just say you're a graduate, and then they could look up in the log to see who graduated from which tower. So you would have been a graduate of the Tower of the Arcane, whereas a bard would have been a graduate of the Tower of Lore.
Okay, so I would say my name is Henrik Holliston. I'm a graduate of the Athenaeum of the Arcane. Is that how I would say it?
Oh, of course. So you bear the mark of the graduate, then?
I do. It's on my upper shoulder, so I can't really get it off my right here.
What?
Ah, the end. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you just give Reva, and then she turns like through a few pages, and Elora. Is that correct?
Yes.
Very
Yes,
good.
ma'am.
Yep.
The dean is arrived, and he is in the grand study. I can take you all there. So she kind of gets up from her seat and she closes the book. She reaches over to the little side table, and she rings a little bell, and then you hear, "Oh, come on!" And then from another like chamber, putting up some books. Come on now, what do you actually want, Francis? Again, you have to go. I am not going to the loo. I have to take them to the dean. All right. So and you see this sort of gruff-looking halfling. He has a voice much deeper than his size, and he kind of walks up and he just sits in the chair that she was in, although he doesn't really get as high onto can't really see over her desk as much. So then you see him get off of the chair, and he grabs a few books and he puts them on the chair, and then he climbs back up and he sits on the book, so he's like at the right height to see people as they come in. And then she kind of waves him off, and she says, "Please don't mind him, just follow me." So as you're walking behind, you can kind of see as you enter past the first sort of foyer entry of the library that you see beautiful light coming in from above, and it's sort of refracted in a bunch of different colors, the same as the skylight stained glass that's there. The dome makes everything well lit so people can read well, but also it's just kind of beautiful. It's shining all over, and it sort of gives that shimmering effect sometimes depending on where the sun is in the sky. But because it's morning, it hasn't really gotten too high yet, so it's sort of nice, dim in some spots, and kind of red and yellow and green light in some of the others, just because of the nature of the stained glass. But you can see bookshelves and scroll cases that are kind of lining every wall around you, and there's sort of ordered rows throughout all of these aisles of books and bookcases. And there's actually also small, even with the light that they've got going on, attached to each one of the bookcases, you see every now and then a smokeless white flame that is on sort of a iron chandelier that's sort of, or I should say a sconce that's kind of attached to the bookshelf. So as if, if you still can't read because of the light, you could hold it up there, and it's sort of a magical effect that doesn't give off heat. There's no chance it's going to burn anything. It's just sort of an illusionary light that kind of very similar to the ones that you guys have on your at your disposal with some of your spells, but these are sort of built into the candles that are along the the halls there. So you realize with as much as there, you could spend years and years studying here in this room and still never read the same page twice, right? There's so much here. But from there, you're led back through a few different corridors until you finally see a double-doored area where she opens the door, and then the light gets even brighter because there are large windows along the wall in this fairly sizable room with a so this chamber kind of has a large heavy mahogany-ish looking table with overstuffed high-back chairs, and there's a writing desk in the corner. But more importantly, what catches your eye is sitting at this big table at sort of the other end as you're walking in is the man that you know to be Spiros Alexandrin, and he sort of immediately pops up from his chair and smiles and walks over. Oh, it is good to see all of you. And then he kind of walks over to you, Henrik, first, and kind of reaches out with his hand to shake your hand, and then immediately pulls you into a hug because he's been worried. And then the same, he reaches out to shake your hands as well. Reva and Elora, you don't understand. My mind has been worried. Although I promised myself I wouldn't check until dire need, but I'm glad that I did. And it is good that you are all safe and sound and here. Please, please, sit. And you see that there's chairs around the other side where you guys, there's 3 chairs sitting there ready for you. There's another one next to him that's open, but he kind of pulls out the chairs for all 3 of you to sit sort of across so it's easier to talk to him. So tell me, I'm glad that you're... Oh, where are my manners, please? And and then as you're kind of like sitting there, you kind of realize that on the table are already refreshments. So there is a pot of Ben and coffee, which is strong, but it's also made with milk and honey, and you can kind of smell hints of cinnamon and nutmeg coming from it. There's a honey tart that's there in the middle of the table as well, already sliced, and it's sort of thin pastry that has chopped nuts and honey in it. And then there's fresh fruit on the table. So there's elderberries and wintermelon and dates and a few apples that are there. So there's, he didn't want you guys to go hungry because he was worried with all the travel and everything that you hadn't had a chance to eat a meal. So he wanted to make sure that there were some things here for you. So he's, please eat.
Okay,
I'm going to eat a little bit so as not to be eaten light.
Reva just gets herself a little plate of all the fruit and then a cup of coffee.
I'm going to need all of you to roll a Constitution saving throw for poison.
Oh.
Just kidding.
Yeah, he ain't getting these orbs.
Just kidding.
I'll say we've got a lot to share. Really, I'm not sure what you know or not. Yeah, we've got... I don't know if I want to spill the beans, but we've got in the pockets yet. So I'm not going to mention the order. I'm mention the people right now. So we encountered Drayan. He knows all these people, right? Because we've shared all this information. So
you have not. You have not talked to him since you left.
I mean, like a long time ago. Like the first encounter I had with Drayan and Terrence and all them way back when.
You did. You maybe, but you haven't talked about this in a while, so he hasn't. So are you? You're saying does he know them? Period is a different thing. So yeah. So that would probably have to come up in conversation, I would guess.
If I tell him my name, he would know the names.
I guess we'll see.
Okay, so we encountered this. You do recall Terrence and Drayan?
Terrence. Terrence who? There have been a few. Terrence Keach.
Correct, Terrence Keach.
Of course, yeah. I know Terrence. He was with you on your first mission, if I remember right.
That's correct. Yeah, he seemed like a nice guy, but I think he's now a... Oh crap! Hold on.
He's coming here.
He's a Shadow Keeper.
Shadow Keeper. He is coming here. So he was one of the ones we were actually fighting over this orb.
He stands up immediately. What?
Yes. Correct.
I called him... He's supposed to... He's coming here.
Well, you might want to be a little careful because he attacked Henrik.
What?
Do you know of a Zrisha?
I don't know. Wait, one thing at a time. Terrence attacked you?
To be honest, did I
In
attack
the
him first?
alley,
Yeah, but maybe I attacked him first. I'm trying to think now.
after it was
So,
not pleasant,
Terrence,
though, like, you know.
yeah, three people. Terrence, Drayan, and Zrisha were attempting to steal an orb from Quincy Hillborn.
Hillborn.
I,
Well, and
my,
don't forget the guy that we couldn't see that was whistling with his sword. So there was actually four. He had a shotgun.
what?
He came walking down the alleyway.
Yeah, like I said, it's been a pretty exciting couple days for us.
I can see. And what are the orb? What are these orbs you're talking about?
The two orbs that you had us search for.
So let's just start at the beginning.
Well, so are the orbs the relic?
Yeah, I think I'm starting to think now that we know more about this than you do. So
You definitely know more about what's happened.
So much has happened. I mean, we've got to even back up from that, Henrik, because, well, okay, so be wary of Terrence. Just notate that. But we ended up portaled away after we went. You sent us on a mission to go and find the dwarves, the excavation site,
The
and then
dwarves.
right.
no, we tend to look for the orb first.
From the Donran Empire. Well,
Okay, so we went to the ruins.
I
Yeah,
didn't know it was an
The
orb,
relic.
but
Yeah,
relic,
relic.
yes. So the relic
right.
is an. This is interesting. What kind of orb?
It's a pretty cool orb.
A round one.
Yeah, it does some
It
cool stuff.
has, yeah, and it has the rune or the glyph in it
Which
that I
one?
feel like you showed us.
He
One of them
reaches.
looks like the glyph. Sorry, what?
Go ahead.
Um, I was just trying to. So did one of them look like the glyph that was on Melora's statue?
Ooh,
I felt like the
let me make-
first one looked like the glyph that was on Melora's statue, but I could be wrong about that. With the shadow guy like that we got with the Taleb.
Yeah, we need to get our ducks in a row here. Spiro, sorry, we're going to need to huddle up here for a second to get our story straight. I think that there was well, it definitely the key to get into the room had the things, right, or those different symbols.
So we
Well,
went to these ruins.
let's go meta for a second.
That
So
was
we have the temple, right, where we first fought those shadow creatures. That had a symbol on it, right? Right.
yes.
Both orbs have a symbol on it, a
So he
separate symbol.
reaches into the scroll case that he's carrying and puts it out on the table. And this, I did an etching from the disc that we had. Are you saying that you found orbs that had these symbols?
I believe so,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm not reluctantly, or not just slowly pull out my orb.
Are you
Like, yes.
touching it?
No, just with the paper or with the.
And you see Reva put on gloves, and she kind of reaches in her pack and pulls out. Now, okay, let me preface this, Dean Spiros. The one that I'm about to bring out, just steal your mind because it makes you feel a little melancholy, a little sad. We tried to put it in here. My bag can kind of negate some of that stuff, so I'm going to bring it out so you can look at it. But just know that you might have some kind of weird feeling.
And so this is the one that you got last.
That would be
Yes.
the one that we got last, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, that would be the one that Terrence and them had that they stole from the casino. We got the first one we have. You have Henrik. That's the one that was with the Talem in the ruins.
Yeah. So which are the two symbols? That
So
one?
this is the one that you're now showing him, and he so if you show it to him, I'm assuming, Reva.
Me
Yeah.
or Henrik.
Reva.
Yeah. Both of them.
Okay, so
Yeah,
Reva,
we
you show
both
him one.
like we both kind of reached in and pulled him out at the same time. I think.
Okay, and then the first one that you got was this one, and then the one that you just recently got was this one, and there were two that burned. That's why it got him thinking about what was going on. Most interesting. What does this have to do with Terrence?
Well, Terrence was looking for the one that Reva has.
Wait, sorry. You were transported?
Yes.
Correct. By an obelisk.
So
You look at, he's sort of, rubbing his eyes a little bit or bridge of his nose, and you notice that there weren't just one chair, there's two empty chairs sitting next to him. And he kind of looks over at the first one. I have some news as well. I need to pause here for a moment. Please don't forget what you were going to say, but I think someone may be able to help us shed some light on this. If you'll excuse me. And he stands up and he walks to the back of the room where you see that there was a door that you didn't really notice. It was sort of just an alcove door in the back of the chamber, and he opens it. He walks inside, and that's where he's in there talking to somebody for a while. A cat appears on the table.
yes.
And he's battering around.
Tabaxi is back.
Yeah, this miniature tabaxi is batting around the pastries. So when he returns, he kind of walks out a few steps from the door, and so actually, let me do this just to kind of remind you. So. So that's Spiros, right? And so when he returns, he kind of steps to the side for a moment. And from that door, you watch as a construct enters the room. Humanoid and bipedal, seemingly made of some type of metal and stone and even wood. And as they walk closer, you're kind of taken back by them. They're actually quite magnificent. What you would consider skin is actually some type of polished alloy. And there's like pockets of banded, it looks like maybe even tiger wood or something. That looks like what you might consider a little bit of natural anatomy as it goes. Dressed in armor, carrying a shield with a sword at its belt. And it would look like a work of just craftsmanship to you if it wasn't for the eyes. You see sort of these blue gemstone eyes that almost look curious to you. Like they're like this being is curious about you. And he walks up with the dean, and with an audible click, he removes this beautifully crafted shield that was actually attached to his arm and sets it down by the empty chair that's next to Spiros. And he looks like this. Just for reference.
Oh, cool. Super cool.
And the dean says, "My friends, I would like to introduce my newest friend. We have just met. Well, officially, just met about 5 days ago. This is. I'm sorry. What is it? My name is Temper. This is Temper. It's great to meet all of you. Will I be okay sitting down at this table with you?"
It's nice to meet you, Temper. Sure. Have a seat.
"Thank you. I think I will." And he sits down at the table, and you hear the wood kind of creak a little bit, but the chair's holding him. And then he's sort of sitting at the table and looking at all of you. Yes, so maybe if you can continue, Temper, if you could just... Yes, I'll listen to what they have to say. Please continue. Don't let me stop you. Tell me more. I heard a little bit from the other room, but I hear better out here because I'm closer to you. No, please, go on.
Henrik, do you want to tell him, or do you want me to tell him?
Well, I was gonna say I really wish I could have got a telepathy feat last time because I really want to talk to Spiros and be like, you know this dude? Like, I don't want to give her whole story in front of this guy. Maybe I'll just have to say it out loud. I'm saying, Spiros, are you sure you just met this person? Are we comfortable sharing, our story here?
They will work fine for me. They don't remember much since they woke up. We found Temper about a year ago during an excavation in the Eldrith Commonwealth. And we thought him nothing more than a piece of art, a construct of the Donran, and he was, to be honest, I'm ashamed to say, he was in our vault. But 5 days ago, we heard something in our vault, asking to be let out. Yes, I had been in there for a while, it seems. Not quite fun to stand it. They had some nice things in there, though. And, yes, Temper, and, he doesn't really remember much other than, I guess, his name and his missive, what he's supposed to do. So that's it. What I can say with fair certainty is that he was made by the Donran. Sorry, you're on mute, Melanie.
Temper, you have no idea why you woke?
Sorry, Melanie was on mute for a second. Let me get...
I was just wondering what his purpose was.
To answer both of your questions, my purpose is to protect the Donran. I will only protect those that are worth protecting, and I am a protector of House Medeiros. Why I awoke 5 days ago, I am uncertain.
DM,
Yes.
is 5 days significant? Is that one of the days we found one of the orbs?
It is not the exact day that you found an orb. It's not like nothing's clicking. And Henrik, you know exactly that you did not find it at the same time. But it doesn't mean that someone else couldn't have found a different one, right? Like it's just right now you know that it's not lining up to the day with what's going on with you.
Okay.
How do you spell Medeiros?
Modaris. We were protectors of the orbs as well, because we protect the Donran Empire. Is that a Talum?
Yes, it is.
And he kind of looks. Ah, I will protect you.
Sweet, thank you.
You are of House Vanamir. Medeiros and Vanamir were quite friendly.
So, I mean, we put the orbs back away when he left the room? I kind of feel like I would put it back in the bag because I don't know what he's coming. I don't know who he's coming back with. Like,
Did you guys put him away?
I would probably have put him away
Okay.
until I felt comfortable with who he walked back in with.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of
And
agree.
he just mentioned the orbs, so
Sure.
I would probably try to question him a little bit about them
Okay.
before pulling it back out. And well, you said that you were a protector of the orbs. Can you tell us what the orbs were for, what they did?
No, I cannot tell you that.
Elora, can you ask him that question?
Okay. Well, Timber, could you tell me what they're for?
I'm sorry, I should have clarified. I do not remember what they did. I do know they were created by the Donran.
Okay.
I think they used them to help create me.
Okay.
You also notice as just kind of as he's moving that on his shield is a symbol that you recognize on the wheel here of what's being shown is it looks like it is this one
Okay.
is on his shield.
So that's probably the symbol for House Medeiros. I'll ask him that. Is that your symbol of your house?
Why, yes. Do you have the orb?
Unfortunately, we don't have the orb of Medeiros or House Medeiros.
That
it
is
seems.
unfortunate.
Yeah. We do have two others. That
May I
are
see
shown
them?
here. Now you look at Spiros. Are you sure?
I trust him.
All right.
I
Is it
trust
like
them.
the
Sorry.
houses- Are the old houses of the Donner Empire? Is this knowledge that's lost to history, or is that something we would know?
It is knowledge lost to history. So let me back up a little bit. So roll a history check. Actually, any of you that want to, just to kind of see what you do know of the Donran, and advantage for you, Carrie, just because of the studying that you did.
I got 25.
And then we also have those pages that were ripped out of the journal that talked about the houses staying together. Oh, I rolled a 2. 5.
Okay,
I know nothing.
Melanie.
Oh.
Just you don't have to. I just figured if you want to check.
22.
Yeah. So Melanie and Carrie, what your characters are understanding. Excuse me. What your characters understand is sort of the general knowledge of the Donran Empire that is available. You don't have anything deeper than this, but on the whole, what most antiquarians have discerned is that the people of the Donran Empire, in their mind, were arrogant and considered themselves better than any of the rival nations at the time, and they were extremely innovative and pushed the limits of what they could do with both artificing, craftsmanship, creating magical items, all kinds of things, alchemy, all of the things that you would think would push forward their society. They were extremely interested in. But what the current common opinion is that there were likely conflicts that happened within their ranks individually, and that struggle may have caused the downfall. Now, having said all that, that's public opinion, meaning like that's what's kind of common knowledge. It's sort of like in our world what may have been thought at a rudimentary level about the Roman Empire, right? And then those that are able to, when they excavate more and they find more information and they look through and they can find any more documentation, or if they were able to read books that were about them from other people that came after, they would know more. The problem is there's no culture after the Donran that wrote about the Donran. So it's not like with our history where we could trace it back because people kept the legends alive. This is sort of like they just were gone. So no one really knows. That's just what they gather. So with both of those roles, you can kind of tell. Although I would also say with both of those roles, you aren't 100% sure that's correct.
So Temper seems to know, right? So can we just ask him? Like, it's Temper. What do you know about these houses, and what are the other houses?
Well, let me look at them. And he kind of pushes the thing out. This one that you smudged for some reason. This is House Sansalis. And then he's moving around kind of clockwise here for us. This was the first house. The second house is House Atharid, followed by Vanamir. This other smudge, you should really clean your paper better. This other smudged one is House Rashani, followed by House Ansila. This one, your other orb, I take it? House Wittigus. Then, House Rissamin. And finally, my house, Modaris. If I may say so, the best house.
I laugh with him.
So Temper, can you educate us
Sorry.
on the houses? Like which were your rivals? You know, which were the strongest?
No, I can't.
No memory of your relationship, the house relationship, your house to other houses.
I do know that we were close with House Vanamir. Because
Okay.
I was of the House Modaris, and they were the Ministry of Protection, whereas Vanamir was the Ministry of Exploration. We often worked together.
Of exploration.
Yeah. I can't say much more than that. As you're talking, you hear a knock at the big door coming in. Oh, excuse me, Dean. You have the other member of your group that's finally shown. And as the door opens, you see Terrence. And as he looks in, his face goes, like all of the blood from his face just goes, and he's just standing. He's like almost shaken, and he just kind of steps in, really quietly, and he looks as if he's a scared rabbit, and he just walks. Thank you, Francis. I'll head in to the room now. And he goes, and we're going to take a break, and we'll be back shortly and pick up from there. So, we'll see you guys in 10 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
I'm gonna go ahead and roll initiative now.
Right?
All right. We'll be back.
Like, buddy, you got some splaining to do.
Punch on his face.
All right, welcome back. So, as we left for break, in from the center or from the front of the library, walks familiar face now, Terrence Keach. As he's looking looking a little rough, around the edges, looking a little scared to be in the room. And as he comes in, Spiros, who wasn't, and the only thing different about this picture is that Terrence is not armed. And so as yeah, I'm getting. Anybody else getting?
Your TV?
Yeah,
randomly came
yeah,
on?
or something.
Hold
Somebody's
on, let me go
talking.
downstairs and check. I'll be right back.
That's so weird.
We did say this was more of a modern campaign world.
It is, right?
That's wild.
I didn't turn anything on, so
No, there's nothing on here either. It's quiet here.
somehow our TV. I think we got some kind of power issue in our house. Like we had.
It's just power.
It's just the power.
It's
But,
just
well,
power.
the
Okay.
like our TV on our wall went out, and then the microwave went out. I think so. I'm wondering if we're having like power surges or something.
Wonder
Sucks.
if, well, the remote was on the arm of the couch. I wonder if one of the cats walked over
That's
the.
probably what it was. Just, both of them are out there. So
Yes.
all right.
Well,
So
no.
so he's looking pretty rough around the edges. He's looks like has had no real sun in a while. He's not armed. So even though the picture shows him armed, he is not armed. He's not carrying any weapons, and he's not smoking in the library. But he is looking pretty scared. And you notice though that Spiros, who is usually a pretty jovial and happy guy, has a very stern look on his face, and he stands up from the table. Terrence, have a seat. And Terrence kind of walks over as if he knows who he's in the room with. So he kind of goes over and he sits, and his eyes are like staring at Temper, because he's like gonna have to sit next to him, it, whatever he likes to go by. And so as he moves closer to Temper kind of looks at him. Hello, I'm Temper. All right. And then he sits in the chair. Funny story, Terrence. We were just talking about you. My friends here were saying some very disturbing things. Look, all a big misunderstanding.
Sure it is.
It's good to see you, Elora. Henrik. Do they have anything other than coffee to drink? And then, Terrence, about... And then he flicks his hand, like not even touching the table. He flicks his hand, and as he does that, the page on the table just moves on its own over right in front of Terrence. And he kind of like startles him, and he looks down, and his eyes get really wide. Anything you'd like to tell us? What do you want to know?
Everything.
Exactly.
I don't
Why
know.
are you working with Drayan? What happened to Drayan? How'd you get back in, like league with him? Who's Risha?
And
How'd
why
you
did
become-
you join a cult?
We almost killed Zwisha, just so you know. We effed her up.
I haven't seen them.
I'm so mad that she got away.
All due respect, I highly doubt that you almost killed her.
You weren't there.
Feisty.
You're right. Drayan promised me answers. Told me I would learn what I've been trying to learn since I was a boy. He, well, seemed to be able to withstand the orb and the one we found those years ago in Getica.
And where is that orb now?
Drayan has it.
And where's Drain?
Look, I don't know, and you have no reason to believe that, but to be honest, it's the truth, and I don't know if I could find them if I wanted to, and I honestly don't want to. I found out what they really are. I was just looking for answers. And
What kind of answers?
well, I would assume the same answers you're looking for, Elora. Who my family really is. You see, I was young when my father left. Really young. An infant. My mother, Rosalind, was also an antiquarian like my father. We traveled a lot. So I became her protector and learned to use the sword and, made my way. Found that I did well in combat. And it got me to the capital, got me to Ventia, which got me closer to the Athenaeum. He kind of looks over at Spiros while he's talking, and then he kind of glances over at you, Henrik, and he said, this library pales in comparison to that one. I wanted answers. I heard my father had remarried an elf, that they were also searching for the relics, searching for answers, but I could never find him. Then I realized he went missing near the Austin Reach. So I retraced the steps, which led me, and he looks over to you, Elora, to Angaro, which I didn't really know I would end up liking you. I didn't even know I had a sister, or at least a half-sister, but so we started drinking together, we had a good time. I thought maybe you knew more than you were letting on, but you didn't. You didn't know anything about it. And went to the Athenaeum and kept studying. And one day they sent me on a protection detail on an expedition to Getica, and Henrik, you know the rest. Well, at least what happened there. Have you told anyone? Have you actually told anyone what really happened?
No.
Secrets are a tricky thing.
They are indeed.
So, we went on a simple excavation. We found a ruin. We were looking for art, statues, scrolls, books. We found a chest that had something more. It had an orb. Immediately, others in that group went for it. Drayan was one of them, and Drayan disappeared with it. I didn't think much of it until he contacted me later saying he could explain everything and that I need to seek the shadows.
Oh boy, I'm tired of hearing that.
But why you? Why did he reach out to you?
Because he knew I was looking for them too. The shadows of the Donran Empire.
Were you though, or were you looking for your father? I'm
Well,
confused how those are the same thing.
he married into it.
Okay.
Oh, crap.
The Donran never left.
Yeah, gathered that much.
Still here.
Yeah.
Everywhere. You don't know if you're talking to them or not. Imagine me going and trying to tell people in the Empire that that's what's going on. Maybe I'm talking to the wrong person. Maybe they're the Donran. How am I supposed to trust anyone? Then Drayan says he found a way. He found someone on the other side that can help. Someone that knows how they got their power. Someone that knows how they created the orbs. Someone that says they stole the power from the Shadowfell. And she wanted it back.
Zrisha.
So as he's saying this and you guys are thinking things through, Spiros is kind of like, you can see the calculations going. He's an older guy, but his mind is still sharp, and he kind of, when you say they're still here, what do you mean exactly? I mean, they're still here. I mean that literally. It kind of knocks him back in his chair a little bit, Spiros, because you can tell on his face that that's a really big implication to the structure of things and how things are run. Where are the other orbs? I don't know.
Tell the truth.
Roll an insight check.
11.
You feel like he is. I mean, it's as much as you don't like him right now. Probably he doesn't seem as if he's being insincere.
Terrence, we don't know each other. I'm Reva's adopted sister. I mean, Elora's adopted sister. The orb that you guys recovered that started all of this off, what was the symbol that it held?
The one at the top.
So Sensalis.
What?
Sensalis.
What does that mean?
That's the name of the house.
How do you know? He
Well,
kind of
you
looks.
met our friend Timber here. Timber was filling us in right as you were walking in.
He's like, you can see his face, just like he knows he messed up. Not meaning like you can tell on his face that he knows he messed up, not because he's caught with anything, but that he chose the wrong group to help him is what you kind of read on his face. Like, there's more information in that sentence than he heard from Zrisha.
Oh yeah, he told us what all of the houses were.
When they started trying to bring the gloom spikes, when they started to rip the veil and open passages to the Shadowfell, I knew that it was wrong. And I needed to go, and others were buying it. Others were there were someone else. It seems was involved. Hillborn family.
Cherdick and the Alehounds.
Yeah. Yes. I I don't know what happened to them, but I know that somehow they're involved with the group. I heard from Drayan that they were some of the others that were in the last area that we were in. What I do know is that Drayan and Zrisha are learning more and more about how to use these orbs. They were powerful. Their abilities and their powers changed, fluctuate. Only those that created them really know how to use them, and it's the luck of the draw unless you figure something out, and they're figuring something out.
Well, the Alehounds are dead. And we closed the portal with the gloom spike.
That's good, at least.
One of them, anyways. It sounds like there might be more. And that's where we encountered your friend Zrisha, who tried to forcibly take what we found and fought her off, and she ran off. She ran away. There was lots and lots of information. Lots of stuff happened. But all of the Alehounds they're no more. Cherdick was the last one that was still, he was the only one that we encountered alive. He had gone mad. Completely stark, raving mad. And tried to kill us. And was trying to open the portal more, I believe, or activate it somehow with the orb. And really, we didn't have any option but to stop him. So
he's just like, he's kind of like throwing his hands up with he just looks dejected. He slips his jacket off onto the back of his chair. Just kind of like now he's starting to sweat a little bit because he's like, he knows he messed up. Henrik,
does he look like, like you said, he was kind of pale, like he hadn't seen the sun for a while. Does it look more like sickness, like maybe he's withdrawing from something, or does it look like he's genuinely been somewhere dark?
Roll a medicine check. And then, Carrie, I think you were going to say something, and I wanted to make sure I get to you.
15.
He looks as someone that maybe hasn't eaten in a while, that has been very tired. He looks like he's probably not been traveling too much in the daylight. He looks like someone that's been either drinking too much, which maybe he has, or is just seen better days, from what you can tell.
Yeah, because my main worry was that the orbs have a way of like getting a hold of people.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean that's as far as you can tell for now.
Okay.
And Henrik, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, how many orbs does Drayan have in his possession?
To my knowledge, 2. Well, I thought 3, but apparently you got the other one. So, got the one that we took from the Hillborn. So, 2, just 2 from all. But I know that they had a lead on another one.
So how would you get in contact with them?
I wouldn't, because they'll kill me.
Why?
I wasn't really supposed to leave. I ran. After they took the orb that we left with when we saw you in Grand Ridge, they were talking about opening a gloom spike, making a rift nearby. They were going to entrust Jerdik with it, and I took the opportunity to slip out and go. I didn't want anything more to do with it. I promise you, I didn't want anything more to do with it.
Well, the only way to make it right now is to find a way for us to get to Dre and to get those orbs from him.
Tell me what I can do.
What are the 2 orbs he has?
It looks like the ones that are burned on your paper are the ones.
Sun Solace
Those are
and
the
Rushani.
Shani. Mm-hmm.
And Spiro says, is it fair to say that this Zrisha is a spellcaster? She... He stops to let you finish. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Oh, okay. Yes, she is Shadurkai. And then Spiros kind of... A Gloomweaver. This is not good, my friends. Many times they have the ability to shield themselves from detection. I don't know if my scrying will work for them. It was easy enough to find you, and you, Terrence. Junior, I guess? Let's call you Junior. So, and you notice Henrik roll a perception check. And Elora roll a... Just do a straight... Actually, roll an investigation check, Elora. And Henrik, you roll a perception check.
I get a 16.
Henrik, you noticed that when he pulled his jacket off, you saw the sleeve kind of come up on his shirt, and you saw the mark of the graduate.
I got 17.
So, you, as he's talking, and especially after after the sort of snide remark about him being junior, you have a flashback memory, Elora, of the letter from your uncle. And you remember it saying, I'm at least grateful that Terrence had the good sense not to bring you with him that time. So it's starting to click a little bit that he's probably telling the truth.
Did you know that when we were drinking together? That you were my half-brother?
Yeah, I did. I didn't know that I would actually come to like you.
Jeez. Now I'm rethinking the whole situation. Why wouldn't you tell me?
Because I didn't know if you were one of them. I don't even know how it works. I just know they're still here.
Mm-mm.
So Spiros looks over to you, Henrik, and he says, can I have a word, please? In private.
Sure.
If you'll excuse me, ladies. Temper. Yes, this is an interesting conversation. Temper, can you please keep an eye on our guest, Mr. Terrence here? Of course. 2 eyes. I have both of them on him. And then Spiros kind of gets up and leads you back to that same alcove, Henrik, where Temper came out with him. I didn't know that I was getting you into this when I called for your help, and I am sorry. If I had known, I would have done this one myself. Seems like I put you in over your head a little bit. Not that you aren't capable, but these are things that none of us knew and none of us could expect it. So, I have a proposal, but please feel free to say no. This is not a request coming from the head of the Athenaeum Arcane Tower. This is from what I hope is a request of a friend. So, I would like to have a joint ritual with everyone here at the table to see if we can scry the location of where these shadow seekers are now. The normal scrying spell won't work unless we have the mental energy of everyone that knows a piece of what's going on. If we can find them, will you, if they are still willing to go, will you go with them to stop them?
Yeah, absolutely.
I fear I must take these orbs back to the vault until they can be studied, because if they fall into anyone's hands, especially this is Risha, things could get worse. So keeping them behind the walls of the Athenaeum under our formidable protection may be enough to at least separate them. To be honest, if there are more that are out there, they may be hidden for years, we don't know, but at least we know where the other two are, if we can find them. At least we know who has them. So, will you help me with the ritual?
I will, yes.
Okay. Well, let's go talk to the group. So he kind of pats you on the shoulder and walks back to the table. I'm sorry, I'm going to say everything I just told to Henrik, but it is my place as his former dean and teacher to keep him safe. And it's not that I won't keep you safe, but I can't speak for him. So, my proposal is this. Reva, if you would, I will take your orb that you are keeping safe and Henrik's orb that he is keeping safe, and I will bring them with me back to the Athenaeum to keep them in the vault. And I will need all of our help, including you, Terence, and even you, Temper. Of course, I'll help with whatever I can to see if we can find where they are, if you're all willing. Now,
I don't know that they need to be together.
the orbs, you mean?
Yes.
I
We don't know
understand.
what happens with them being together in close quarters.
This is a good point. The problem is I don't know who else to give them to.
What if we stored one per tower? Keep one
Yeah.
here, and then take one back with you.
That may work, although the library's defenses are nowhere near what we have in the Athenaeum itself.
Well, what we found traveling with them that helped is, I have a somewhat magical bag that translocates things, I guess, into another dimension,
Yes.
and we stored one in that. And then Henrik carried the other one in his shoulder bag or shoulder pack.
So
Um,
if that's all you're worried about, then have no fear. And he kind of stands up again, and you see that like he's got a couple things kind of strapped to him, but in his normal outfit. But like on his belt pouches, you see him do this, and he flips open a pouch on either side, and he puts his hand all the way into both of these small pouches, and the arms kind of disappear, and then he pulls back out, and he's like, I, I think I can keep them separate in that circumstance, and then we can store them behind the vault in two bags of holding. If that seems to fit your requirement, then that's very good sense, lady.
well, as long as we're kind of on the same line as that, I also have something else that I think that you probably won't want to take back with you as well. And then I still have the gloves on and wrapped, reach into my bag and pull out the Tome of Vile Shadow that is wrapped. It's also wrapped in a shirt. So, and then I just kind of peel back the top little part
Ah,
of the
wrap it
shirt.
back up, please.
And then, yeah, we
Uh,
also need this to go somewhere. Somewhere.
I will pay you for the shirt. And then he puts his hand out, and then the book and the shirt, all wrapped up together, move. And he puts it back on the writing desk in the corner. And then we actually can take care of that here. One thing that these libraries are good for are taking care of all kinds of different books.
It just seemed really nasty, and we didn't want it to fall into the wrong hands.
It's very kind of you. I also will tell you that you will be compensated. You have all been on this mission of your own volition, and it is remarkable how far you have come so far, given the circumstances. I am very impressed with each of you. I may ask for one more thing. Since you know them and have already encountered them, will you stop them?
I feel
We'll
like
try.
I feel like I have to try, or we have to try. They're corrupting the natural order of things and trying to. I don't like. Are they trying to bring the Shadowfell here, or are they trying to bring things from there here, or are they trying to merge the two planes? Like, I'm questioning Terrence. Like, what is the purpose? Are they just trying to get that power back?
They're, for now, she's just trying to cause havoc, to destroy their paradise, is what she says.
Why?
The
Um,
the
because,
the Donran Empire's paradise.
yeah, apparently she believes that they have been behind the strings of all, or behind the scenes of all of what's happened, all the advancements of what's happened here in Ventas, um, but somehow I don't know. She talked about all of their different advancements in not just magic, but in exploration and in crafting. And she says that they stole the power from the Shadowfell and combined it with that of the Fae.
Oh. Well, we already kind of had an inkling that there were still some here. Um, we found some journal entries that were ripped from, I assume, just my assumption is from Cheredic's father's notebook, Quincy, um, kind of renouncing Cheredic and saying that he isn't one of them, and that the houses needed to band together and stay, no matter how far or wide they spread, they needed to stick together. So we kind of got the sense from that there probably were more out there, but what you're saying makes a lot of sense.
So, how can I help? Well, this is what we're going to do. First, um, if everybody finished with the food and drink, I don't
Yes,
eat or
thank you.
drink or even breathe. You can take the food away. Thank you, Temper. Thank you. Um, he just kind of starts gathering some plates up and then moving them aside, and then he starts to clear off the area in front of each of you, um, and then he sits back where he was. Oh, I believe we can do this here. He reaches into that pouch, and then from it you see this long staff pull out with this gem at the top. He puts the staff across the table, and it starts to flash a little bit. And when that happens, on the table itself, you see sort of a sparkling design of runes and sigils and lines in the middle of the table. This is, if you are all ready, this is when I will need your help. And so this is how it's going to work. This is going to be a skill challenge, but it's different than the skill challenges we've done before. The purpose of this is you're trying to find out where all of this, where the shadow seekers are, but mainly where Zrisha and Drayan are, because they're the ones that have the orbs, right? So in order to do this, you're kind of going to be linked mentally, and what you need to do is remember important details about what's happened, or about them, or about what they're doing. Any of the things that you might have talked about already, or things that you just remember, could be in your notes, could be things that you, anything that draws your memory to that group, especially Zrisha and Drayan. So it could be something that they look like. It could be a memory that you had when you spent time with them. It could be something that happened during a battle. It could be anything. But every time you remember something, here's the thing: if you remember it correctly, I'm going to add 1 to what I roll. Anytime you remember something incorrectly, I'm going to subtract 1 from the roll. I'm going to roll a d20, and we're going to add whatever we've got for bonuses, or subtract what we don't. And then based on the result, you'll get either you won't find anything, or you will get more specific in the location. So in other words, the lower the score, the less specific you know, which could be I don't know where it is at all, or it could end up being I know exactly where they are, who they're with, and what's the place, and how to get there, and all that kind of stuff, right? So it could get really specific or not so much. So we're going to go around. We're going to do 3 turns around. So we'll start. I'll go from my right on the screen. So I'll start with Carrie, then Melanie, then Crystal, and we'll do 3. And so if you can remember something specific about either Drayan or Zrisha, that might be able to help. And as this happens, the light from the table kind of comes up, and it starts to link, and you see like all of the minds are sort of connected in this glowing circle with the runes like bouncing back and forth, and sort of you're all kind of in this mind link right now. And so, Henrik, what can you remember about what's going on with them?
With Zrisha?
Any of them, either Zrisha or Drayan, something that is a strong memory specific about what's going on. Now, remember, your ability also will help you now that you just got.
Okay.
Remember? I hope.
Yeah, I remember she has a magical spear
Okay.
that caused necrotic damage. I remember that because it almost killed me. That's very vivid in my memory.
Yep. All right. Elora, what do you have?
Well, we think Drayan was at Basin Falls at some point.
Okay. Reva?
So Reva just instantly meditates and brings back up the image of Zarisha's face at the tail end of her vision dream that she had from Rahatiel.
Okay.
White hair, pale, kind of gaunt, um, thin, and the sound of Drisha's voice whenever she was taunting us at the tower.
All right. Sorry, and I said 1, but it's 5. Sorry, I read my own notes right. So you get +5 or -5 depending on what you remember, right? So all these are either +5, -5, +5. So very good. So Terrence, kind of leans in forward and says, "I'll never forget the burning and the smell. When Drayan took the first orb and just vanished. It's the scars on his body. I'll never forget it." Then, I don't know either of them. I'm sorry, I can't be helpful. And it's back up to Henrik. By the way, not knowing anything is a 0, so it's not like it's it's not hurting you. He didn't remember something incorrectly.
It just doesn't add to it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. So it could be any of them, you said?
Any of the ones that you're looking for right now.
Yeah.
Or anything about what they have. Things they said, things they did. And it could... Sorry, go ahead. Yep.
Am I allowed to look at notes?
Yeah, definitely.
That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose of having notes.
I wish I'd have made more notes.
That's okay.
So,
and it could be, if you've already said it in conversation earlier, you can use it again. I'm just saying, like, because the spell is just starting now. So, if it's something that you already talked about earlier, that's fine. It's just want to make sure that...
Give me 1 second.
Yep.
Like, can we use the fact that we know that they're shadow seekers?
Let's do it.
Or is that like...
No, I mean, literally anything you can think of.
Oh, okay.
Henrik, anything?
Yeah, I'm going to say that I'm just going to think back to the first time I met Drayan.
Okay.
The first time I encountered him in that first encounter a long time ago.
Yep.
And when he touched the orb, like I remember kind of how eerie his laugh was. Looks like he had locked something.
Yeah. Good. I think I'm at Elora, right?
Yeah, I was saying they're shadow seekers.
Shadow seekers, that's right. Reva?
1 second. I'm ADHD, so I've got 4 notebooks now. So I concentrate and think about the dark-haired human man that came walking down the alleyway, left hip firearm, rifle on his shoulder or his back, whistling.
Got it. And then Terrence, and you hear in your mind as all this is happening, the flash of light, the humming sensation around those obelisks, the need to throw up after we teleport from one place to the next. Can't forget those things. I still don't know anything about any of those two people. Sorry, everyone. And it is now Henrik's turn again. Last time through.
Really kind of focused on Drayan because he's the one trying to find. Maybe just about who Drayan is, like at the time. Like he seemed like an interesting person before he turned kind of crazy.
Gotcha.
Like he
Yep.
seemed a pretty valued member of the group.
Like
Seemed
from
knowledgeable.
when you met him before, you mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And then see how he's changed when we encountered him last.
Gotcha. All right, Elora.
Okay, I'm going to think about and remember the feeling I got in my hand and arm from my talum when we encountered Shrisha.
Yeah. So,
That's
And
great.
the way she looked with her four arms and just a white beast.
awesome. All right. Reva.
So I'm going to re-image, kind of still for me of that scene like in the alleyway when I got up on the top of the building with Henrik and seeing Drayan manifest his powers that looked like they were the opposite of mine. The dark power that's
Oh, yeah.
like the opposite of my light powers.
Yep. Yeah, like it was his version of a guiding bolt. Yeah.
Right.
Awesome. Terrence kind of just laughs. He's like, Drayan used to always buy the worst cigars. Again, nothing from me, thanks. All right, so as that kind of comes to a conclusion, the energy in the room kind of pulses together. You unlink from each other's minds, and here we go. It's not rolling yet. These don't count. Once I figure out how to get rid of them, it'll be easier. Oh. There we go. Natural 20.
Sweet.
You had
That's good, right?
Yeah, it was really good. You had a bonus of 20. So you had 40 total, which does a great job. So the energy forms back into the middle of the table, and you can tell the all the energy starts swarming together, and sort of a map forms, and then it zooms in closer to the east, and then it zooms in closer, and you're in the Commonwealth now, Commonwealth Alliance, and then it zooms in even closer, and it's near the top of the map, and then it closer, and it's the Eldrith Commonwealth, and then a little bit closer, and then you can tell that is near a very, and this is something that probably all of you would recognize. It sort of becomes like a topographic map, and you can see this mountain kind of pop up, and the reason that you know what it is above it you see these shimmering lights right above the mountain, and you recognize it as Faystar is the name of the mountain, and because of it's sort of what we would consider like the northern lights appear there over the mountain, and it's almost like a holiday spot. Everybody goes there to see these beautiful northern light type things over the mountain, and so then it zooms in closer to the bottom of the mountain, and you see a entrance to a cave at the base of the mountain that's sort of nestled away in an unreachable area from the road, but like it's there, and it's a definite place where you know exactly where you can go. And then it flashes and stops. That's where I came from. And then Spiros kind of looked at it. He's like, that's the Donran excavation site. That's 12A, I believe. That's where we collected Temper about a year ago. Can I go with you? Can I go with them? It's really up to them, Temper. What do you say? I am a good protector.
Yeah,
You told me you
Especially in
protect me.
Elora.
I say okay.
Well then.
If we're all dying, Elora will get protected as long as we know that.
Fend for yourself, babe.
You have a bodyguard.
All right. Well then. Then there can be two trips from here. I will say, let's wait until you've had a chance to rest. Another day. You have been moving quite a bit. The first trip, I will send you from the circle here directly there to the entrance. It is known to us. It is easily within our power. You can use the teleportation circle that we have here in the library for use of our Athenaeum officials. So I will make sure you get there without having to traverse this distance, so that we can hopefully get there before anything happens. Then I will take both the orbs separately, of course, contained, and Terrence with me to make sure he gets to pay for what he's done. I will hopefully be able to get him in very quickly with a tribunal, so that we're not waiting around for people dragging their feet to bring him on charges. I will make sure that we at least get him a fair shake of the tribunal, but he needs to face up for his crimes. Is this acceptable to everyone?
I mean, it is to me. I just want him to really understand he helped steal an orb that then got people killed.
Yes, the thing is, for now, I would ask we stay quiet about the orbs. We don't know what they do. We don't know if any of what he's saying is true about this empire really still being out there, shedding light on things that shouldn't have light shed on them is
Then
dangerous.
what is he being charged with?
Yeah, exactly. What crimes has he committed?
Well, he has still we'll right some crimes. If we-
We'll
Okay,
make
I
it
don't know if
happen.
I'm okay with that scene until I found out he's my half brother, but he may be good,
Yeah.
he may be bad.
Listen,
Okay,
the
I'm a little
Ventian
confused.
constables are used to handling things quietly. Perhaps I can even take him to the Imperial armor. He is a knight. He swore an oath, and as such, he broke his oath in lying and acting against his own word. He definitely broke his oath. Although there's nowhere he can run that I can't find him. You wear the mark of the graduate. He's like, shudders a little bit. All right.
Well, I just want to, he's Elora's half brother. I do genuinely feel like he was just dumb and thought he would find. I'm kind of
I,
torn on it, but I also am a little confused on
Yeah,
how it's all going to fall out. Like how, you know,
yeah.
is he's not going to get killed, is he?
no.
Okay, okay.
I tell you what.
Yeah.
I will. I will hold him in safekeeping, under guard within the tower, until you return, and then we can find out how much of what he says is true when you hopefully stop the shadow seekers or whatever they are from doing what they're doing. We need to stop the encroachment of the Shadowfell. That is not
Right.
the issue. The issue is what he says true. The rest of it. So let's see. I'll take him with me. I'll keep him safe and the orbs.
And I do feel like we will eventually want to unfold Alora's past with her, with her family. So he's a link to that. I wouldn't want to
Yeah.
lose him before we were able to kind of figure out
So
all he
What all he
knows about
knows.
Terrence,
Yeah.
his dad.
understood, but perhaps when you return, we could actually go speak to the High General. Maybe he'll know more.
Maybe.
Maybe I kind of want to show him the journal pages that we found that lands suspicion on House Vandermeer. Like,
Right,
kind of
exactly. That's,
don't really
yeah,
know if
kind of like,
we don't know who
yeah,
we can
I don't know if we
trust.
want to go there or not.
We will eventually, but
Yeah. I'd like to find out a little more first.
yeah.
Okay.
Maybe ask around to see if he's a good general or a bad general or. Yeah.
So I know my character would trust Spiros, but just say Carrie is we're really putting a lot of eggs in one basket. We're giving Terrence and all the orbs to Spiros to take back. So that's just out of
Mhm.
character. I mean, I'm going to trust him. The character would trust him, but I just want to be
I
able to say
just
it.
worry that we've got Terrence going with him and two orbs.
That's what he's
Yeah.
saying.
That's what
I
he's
mean,
Yeah,
I
saying.
that's
know,
what he's saying.
right,
Yeah.
but not that
And I'm
Spiros would be bad, but that Terrence could possibly lead the other guys to.
Mm,
Well,
I mean, I kind of feel
if
like
it,
Spiros
yeah,
can take care of
there's a
himself.
lot of.
if it makes
There's
you
a lot
feel
of.
better,
Yeah.
as soon as I enter the circle, I will be in the Athenaeum.
Yeah, but we don't know if there's how deep this thing runs. How many people in the Athenaeum are shadow seekers, or there's too many ands ifs. Oh. Well, I don't know, guys. Whatever you.
Yeah, it's fine. Like I said, my character would trust him, I think. So
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right. So we'll go with the assumption if anything changes between the decision between now and next time, let me know. But I will go with the assumption that he's heading back, and you guys are gonna make use of the circle to get directly to where you're trying to go, so that there's no travel time wasted. Spiros also says, when you succeed, because I know you will, I will send word to the people there, so you can get back to Ventian, safe keep it, or back to Ventia in a quick way by using the teleportation circle there as well. So
Great.
I'll send word that they'll expect you.
Is there anything particular that we need to uh, know or take with us since Timber is going to be coming along? Are there any? We need any supplies?
I'll be bringing my sword and shield.
Okay.
Is there anything else you need? I don't eat or drink, but we can bring
Do you need
food and
oil?
water.
Do we need to oil you?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, because he's made out of like
That's-
he's got metal and he's got wood. So
That's so interesting. I've never considered it. I haven't needed it before.
I have some here. Like I pull out vials and I just start rubbing his arm or their arm. How does that feel?
I meant like WD-40.
Yes. I believe this may be flammable.
It smells nice.
Thank you.
Can you smell?
You see like the slight bending of the face, and like his eyes go, huh? Thank you.
Poor guy doesn't know what he's getting into.
All right. Well, we'll call it there, and then if there's anything in between, we will update everybody that's watching. Between now and then, either you guys can get in touch with me via email or whatever we need to talk it through. But we'll just go with that assumption, and then I would also say that because this is a known site, I will be able to provide you a map of the location because it already is mapped out. So I'll send that out to you after, so you'll know exactly what the place was, at least last time when they went through and they had the excavation. So you'll see what the layout looks like and things like that. So once you have that, if you need to do any planning or anything around what's the best way to go in and all that kind of stuff, you'll know what you can do because you'll have a map. So I'll send that to you, and then we'll go from there.
Cool.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We will see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
I guess.
Bye.